And can our program coordinator, Roy Dudson, please introduce the speaker, please?
Well, tonight we have our very own Kris Hudson-Lee to tell us all about the spring sky. He's been a member of Experience for International Society since 1983. And apart from being a fully trained electrician and electrical engineer, he has a degree in astrophysics and mechanics. He's also a semi-professional bass guitarist, having played for several bands. He has an extensive love of music, which apart from metal and rock also extends as far as ELO and Kate Bush. So let's welcome Kris Hudson-Lee.
Good evening, viewers. For the record, the current total of bands is 0. I am actually in 0 gigging bands at the moment, so I've got no gigs booked for the foreseeable future because we are prepping up a Blondie tribute band. Oh, so anyway, the winter sky into the spring sky, because we're still in winter. We are still in winter, so unfortunately, it's still cold out there. Quite an early talk for me for the winter, for the spring sky, because obviously, spring, meteorological spring begins at the start of March. Astronomical spring doesn't start until the equinox. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover a little bit of winter sky at the moment first, because while we're still going there, I've got a new pointer. I'm playing with new things. Well, I'm not once the society. So if you do a talk on the society, there is a new pointer, and this is what it looks like. So just tell me if you can all see the arrow.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So you can see the arrow. So yes, I can now point, and rather than having to flick around the screen and show things, I can show you a bit more of a static view. So at the moment, if we look pretty much due south right now, we have a rather spectacular scene at the moment because we've got the Moon and Jupiter very close together. It is a little bit laggy, this, by the way, because I'm looking at the projected version of the screen, so I'll do it from my monitor instead. So we're looking at the Moon and Jupiter, and quite close together, quite a nice layout. But at the moment, we have got, as all the newspapers have been calling it, we've got an array of planets, or we've had all these various things of. Go out there and you'll see loads and loads of planets, and it's magnificent. I wish the newspapers wouldn't do this, because we all know as astronomers, good luck seeing Uranus, really good luck seeing Neptune, because Uranus is borderline naked eye at the best of times. I'm just going to zoom out so you can see what we've got at the moment. But so at the moment, we've got. Over here we've got Neptune, look. Incredibly dim object. We've got Venus just above it. Venus is fantastic at the moment. It's getting closer to the sun. It's beginning to set somewhat earlier. So get yourself out, get your Venus view. We are seeing a nice phase on Venus as well at the moment. As we move further across, we have Uranus. Past opposition now, so not at its best. It is shrinking, it is getting fainter. But still worthwhile observing. Same for Jupiter. Jupiter's not doing too bad, but unfortunately it is again past opposition. So it will be shrinking, it will be fading. Mars also looking particularly spectacular in the sky. And Mars in the same area of the sky as Aldebaran is pretty good. We've got three, we've got a, if we look at the screen, oh, hang on. If we look at the map at the moment, we've got a really nice triangle of red stars, because we've got Mars, or sorry, planets and stars. We've got Mars, we've got Betelgeuse down there in Orion. Actually not as I've not installed the driver. So we've got Betelgeuse, and then we've also got Aldebaran, Ivory Ball. I'm just going to zoom into that area and show you what we've got. Well, like I say,
Kris, could I ask you to take a step forward so that you're in shot? Thank you.
Oh, for those who can watch. So we have, as I say, we have Mars over here, and it's a nice triangle. of bright red stars, red planet. So, very wide field, that'd be a good one. Here, also, it's flip the camera around. Wide field, that is a good view. But this is the bit about the planets. So I'll show you. So, newspapers. Go out there, you can see all these planets. Neptune. Neptune at the moment, we are looking at a magnitude of, I can read it. Visual magnitude currently of 7.9. Go out and see it. Go out and look up, you'll see Neptune. 7.9. What with that one? Even binoculars, that one's a struggle. In binoculars, it's a blue dot. If you can get it in binoculars, among all the other blue dots, it looks like a star. You can't see any discernible disk in anything other than a very big telescope. And yeah, good luck with that one. Now, I think the reason why the newspapers have gone so wild is because we have got 3 really bright naked eye planets, and that is why they've gone so cracking about it. Because we've got Venus, which is absolutely cracking, as I say, still incredibly bright. Current magnitude is, it's about -4, I think. For some reason, my sheet, there we go. -4.6 at the moment, bright, phenomenally bright. And then as we move across, obviously dominating the sky at the moment and phenomenally bright as well, and also near the moon, John, is Jupiter, which is currently sat at a magnitude of -2.5. So, you know, you can understand why the newspapers have got a bit cracky about it, but I do sometimes wish they'd calm down a little bit with the reporting. It's like supermoons, you know, everybody expects to go out and see ET flying across the moon, and there's some absolutely enormous moon near the horizon. And it's just not like that. Yes, they're glorious, yes, they look wonderful, but you know, a lot of people are going to look up there, they're not going to know which one's Jupiter. A lot of people speak to me and do astronomy and they'll go, what's that really bright star? Which really bright star? That one over near sunset. So how you mean the planet Venus? And they don't know. We have to educate them, but you know, it's good to have a source material to go on that's good and accurate rather than sensationalist. But as we all know, sensationalism sells. So that's the quick run through the planets, because I'm sure Roy will do his usual bit later. Just got to go check through my notes. So, yeah, I thought I'd run through that. So what we do have, however, this time of year is, as we come into spring, it's galaxy period. It's eating lots of bars of chocolate period, and you get lots of galaxies. And the reason you get lots of galaxies is because, well, on a winter night at the moment, you can see the ecliptic there right now. And as you get over towards the eastern horizon, you can see we have a constellation there that's rising. And we have a constellation. So even though it's further along the ecliptic, it actually sits a little bit below. So I'm going to move over there, and I'm just going to take us on a little bit in time. I'm just going to take us on a few days, and I'm going to take us in to the middle of March. So the first thing you'll notice is, because we're at this time in the middle of March, and the first thing you'll notice, along the bottom of the horizon, starting to get sky glow. Because what is happening is, the sun is getting higher, so we're starting to get sky glow. So we need to start observing later. Obviously temperatures are getting warmer, but we need to move on an hour. As we pop on an hour, but if you look over here, we have 2 amazing constellations rising. One of them is very noticeable by its shape, in particular one asterism within it. That's the constellation of Leo. Leo is instantly recognisable because of the backwards question mark. The backwards question mark is there. Apologise for my cack-handedness with this, but it is my first time using it. But that is the backwards question mark, sometimes called the sickle. So it's the sickle of Leo. Brightest star there, Regulus. And the star at the back end of Leo is Denebola. That one there. We've got Denebola, Regulus. And that's Alpha Leo is Regulus. But below Leo, and sort of sat between the constellation of Virgo, Virgo is this constellation down here. This one down here. But that's Virgo. And the constellation of Virgo is it's the biggest constellation on the ecliptic. And it also contains, between it and Leo, it contains one of the best clusters of galaxies in the entirety of the sky. And you can pretty much see it popping out now, look. And that's the Leo Virgo cluster. This area is absolutely full of galaxies. There we go, look at that. Now, most of those galaxies, for the average viewer, aren't particularly great, they're not particularly bright, particularly visible. But for those guys who've got, I mean, even the smaller smart telescopes, the sea stars, some of these are becoming visible. You can take a photo of some of these areas of sky. I've taken one, I'll be putting it in the next gallery. Pointed it at a random area of sky in this area, set it going, 7 fuzzers on it, 7 galaxies, just little tiny fuzzers. But it's absolutely full of them. And there is, if you look here, there's a nice, my number's gone off. I'm trying to go where they are. My numbers have gone off for some reason. Actually, John's going to pull the deep sky magnitude up because it's a very last bit of getting that. There we go. So, bottom of Leo, for you guys who are galaxy hunting, we've got M105, M96, M95, M66, M65. Nice, decent quality Messier objects. And if we go in a little bit, we'll see pictures of them. Look. We've got rather a nice elliptical galaxy. And a spiral galaxy, and if you get that one, what does everybody call that one? Because I've got about 15 different names for that one. So, but yeah, that one with a sea star, I've started imaging. I will produce my results eventually because it's a very faint galaxy. The M96, there we go. That's what it looks like. M96 is an absolutely fascinating galaxy because it looks like the disk and the central disk are totally at different angles, and even after like 20 minutes of sea star imaging, you can see that you're starting to get the different tilts of the disk. It's yeah, galaxy hunting at the bottom of Leo and into the Virgo area is absolutely fantastic at this time of year. And then these 3 here are an absolutely beautiful set of spiral galaxies. And in particular, even though these 2 here are the Messier numbers, M65 and M66, which are in a field of view on a sea star, I can verify. NGC 3628 is bright enough that you think, how did you miss that? How did Charles Messier miss that one when he was doing his cataloguing? So if you're a galaxy person, your spring sky is fantastic because we have the finest cluster. We also have Macarian's chain, which if you that's a little bit, which is quite a lot of galaxies in a line. And finally, we can't forget this beauty, the Comet wheel. It's a lovely galaxy. So yeah, you galaxy hunters have got something good to go at. However, we've got in March, I'll go to the 8th of March, we have vague chance of seeing Mercury. 8th of March, Mercury is at the greatest eastern elongation. I'll jump to the 8th of March. Show you. And by vague chance, I mean, yeah, good luck. So there you see, if we go to the 8th of March, Mercury is just below Venus, and that will probably be telltale thing. The fact that Venus is there will be the telltale sign that will give you the hints to where Mercury is. So that is probably one of your better chances of seeing Mercury. It's a Saturday. I will probably end up to the odd to try and catch that. Because based on the position, looking where it is, I think we might just get that. It's going to be tight, but we might just catch that. Remember Venus as well is a daylight object. So even now you can go out there, if you point your telescope at where Venus should be, you will see Venus in daylight, which is a daylight object. It's basically, if it's brighter than magnitude 0, you can see it in daylight. It's brighter than a bright sky. But as we head into March, of course, you see the planets are all starting to move along a little. We're starting to lose them a little more. But never fear, because we have some really good stuff coming out. So, 14th of March.
Before you move on from there, is that an occultation of the moon of Mars? Sorry, Mars by the moon on the 8th. Is that indicating an occultation? Is it just?
I thought that was maybe that's a miss.
That's a miss.
It's
Okay.
a miss, yeah.
Okay.
We've had an occultation mark at daylight.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. The
Sorry about that interruption.
no, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So
You can proceed.
I can proceed. Thank you, sir. Can I proceed? So on the 14th of March, we have an event that we will probably want to go and catch. There is a partial eclipse of the moon, partial lunar eclipse. It's not a fantastic one. It is total at some points in the parts of the world, but it's not a fantastic one for us. But it basically, parts of the Europe, this is what my notes say, parts of the Europe, the Americas, Russia and Africa will see a total lunar eclipse on that day. From the UK, we'll see a partial lunar eclipse. Now, the problem is, have you seen the time of this eclipse? It's an early morning one. So if you are feeling like getting up very early, it is 14th of March. If we go to the very early morning on the 14th of March through the daytime. Go. There's the moon, and you will see, not easy to see, but if you look at the side of the moon there, look, you can see that it is already starting eclipse. So we'll run through that eclipse. Connect. We'll just run through that eclipse. And you'll see what the problem is as the eclipse is getting better, unfortunately, sun is rising. It's getting lower and lower. But as the sun is rising and the moon is setting, the moon will be almost there. And then unfortunately, just before it gets to total, down it goes. But if you're up early that morning, it's a Friday, so if you're up that early that morning, 14th of March, go and see an eclipse. Be interesting to see with the latest things that have been going off in the world what colour this is going to be, because there is a lot of atmospheric dust around at the moment, particularly with the fires that have been happening over certain areas over the last few months. And of course, we all know what happens when you get one type of eclipse. You generally get another one near it, but before then, we have the vernal equinox. And the vernal equinox this year is on the 20th of March. Do I need to explain to anybody what the vernal equinox is? Are we absolutely sure?
Well, no, explain please, we have some newbies on.
So, an equinox, basically the name equinox by its very definition means equal, and nox means night, so it's equinox, equal night. And it is where the day and night are exactly the same duration, or thereabouts the same duration. Now, from an astronomical point of view, that is from a civil point of view, we're basically describing it as the day when the day and night are in equal length. That doesn't mean that the sun rises at 6 o'clock and sets at 6 o'clock, it doesn't mean anything like that. But what it means is because of the equation of time, that things don't line up quite right, so the sun doesn't exactly set as you'd think. From an astronomical point of view, what it means is that the sun is rising up the ecliptic, which the ecliptic being the big circle in the sky. Why I'm getting notifications, I don't know. I'll show you the ecliptic. We'll go back earlier again and I'll show you the ecliptic. So when you hear these people talk about my star sign is such and such, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, so when you get people mention about their star sign, the ecliptic is basically a line along which all the planets and the moon to an extent all travel in the sky. So at the moment you can see this Pisces, Aries is about there, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer there, Leo over there, Virgo just below Leo. And if we were to go back that way, we'd get Capricorn, Capricorn and Aquarius. Aquarius would be just below the horizon there, Capricorn looking further down. There are the ecliptical constellations. There is a theoretical line in the sky that runs across all those, and that is the reason it's the ecliptic is that is the sun that is the path that the sun follows through the sky. As the sun goes through the sky, at 2 points in the year, it crosses the celestial equator. When it crosses the celestial equator, rising, so going from the southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere, we have what's called the vernal equinox. And when it does it at the other end of the year, which is in September, we have the autumnal equinox. In between, we have two other things. We have solstices. So the winter solstice, which is around about the 21st of January, is when it is at the lowest point of its ecliptic, which is in Sagittarius. And at the highest point of the ecliptic, when it's in Taurus, that's when we get the summer solstice. So those are the 4 nodes of the year, or the 4 quarters of the year. Astrologers use the zodiac constellations because, you know, they apparently forecast the planets and stuff, use them to forecast the future, apart from it's 2,000 years out of date because the ecliptic has moved. So the point at which the sun crosses into the northern hemisphere is called the first point of Aries because it used to be in the constellation of Aries, and it's now no longer there. It's now moved. It's now in Aquarius at last. We've entered the age of Aquarius. That is because of precession. That is because of the fact that the pole star doesn't say it's the same. It rotates every 25,000 years and changes through different stars because the Earth's wobbling. But that is basically what happens. So the sun's going to cross from the southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere, and it does it on the vernal equinox. And when it does that, that is officially astronomical spring. That is the start of astronomical spring, and it will then last until the summer solstice. So technically, the summer solstice is the end of spring and the start of summer. That is why meteorological seasons are now misaligned, because of they go by the coldest months being winter, which is December, January, February. So that's a little bit about the solstice, and that happens on the 20th of March. If you look on various websites, you can often find the very accurate time for the solstices and equinoxes from your location. So you can look at date and time usually, and it will tell you exactly what time the sun crosses the equator. But this year it's the 20th of March, and I will say last year the summer solstice was the latest it has been in quite a lot of years, a few hundred, I believe. Now, the other thing we've got, which I'm sorry to disappoint you about, but 23rd of March, we have an event that we're not going to see. We're not going to see this one, and I'm so gutted that we're not going to see it, because I saw it last time, and that is Saturn's rings are edge on. And the reason we're not going to see it is because Saturn is so close to the sun when this happens. So if you look now, you can actually see, look, Saturn has just popped below the horizon. There, look, you just see the rising of Saturn. And when we go to March, when this is actually happening, if I just turn off the horizon. Where Saturn is. And unfortunately, that isn't the glow of the sun. But it's going to look very beautiful. Virtually edge on. And that's what Saturn will look like with all its moons in a line, which is something you don't see very often, because unlike Jupiter, which isn't tilted very much to the ecliptic, Saturn is. That's the other reason why Jupiter's Galilean moon transits and shadow transits are quite common, because the axial inclination of Jupiter is only about 3 degrees. Saturn is quite heavily tilted, which is why sometimes we see the northern hemisphere, sometimes we see the southern hemisphere. And yes, that is unfortunately the situation. So what I'm going to do though, is I'm going to go back a few days. We'll show that. So this is what it's going to look like. So this is going from December onwards. Go. Edge on. Virtually disappeared. That's it. So that's something we're not going to see, sadly. I don't know the information about Saturn. I'm not an expert on Saturn. Well, Galileo was the first to notice the rings disappear from view during a plane crossing in 1612. So that is the first time it was observed. Saturn swallowed his children. That was the definition. Subsequent plane crossings have been useful to astronomers to reveal Saturn's secrets, although that would otherwise be obscured because of the bright rings. Yes, I even put him in notes. Saturn will be very close to the sun in the sky, meaning we won't be able to see the planet during the plane crossing. So yeah, so it's unfortunate I missed this one, but I saw the last one. A few years to wait for the next one. It's a 30-year orbital period-ish, Saturn, so these things are every 15 years. So wait 15 years and you'll see another one. And the next event is a sonker. It's a good one. We've got a partial eclipse this year. It's a good one. So it is the 29th, yes, it is the 29th. 29th of March. So we'll go to the 29th of March. Hey. 29th of March. I'm skipping my 5 months. So on the 29th of March, we have an eclipse. We're to leave the sky, and it's a Saturday morning. So I think we could end up at the odd for that one. If anyone is interested, I'll take it back a few hours when it starts, and we'll run an eclipse. So, white strip back to them. 29th of March. 9:15 in the morning. Here we go. So we have a partial eclipse from the UK. It's going to be quite a decent one for us. I'll just run it for you, and then we can see what it's going to look like. If, as I say, meet up at the odd. We'll go and observe this. I'll run it. But not that. It's not locked on the sun. Try again. Right. So I'll run it through and we'll see what happens. So as you see, we've got a decent chunk coming out. The further south you go, the better it is. Total over Spain, I believe. This one. So if those of our members who are in Spain, I will imagine we'll be driving to totality. Anybody going for it by the way, this one? Not be going anywhere for this one. So there we are, right backwards again.
I don't think it's totally in Spain, Chris.
We're not talking in Spain this one. I thought this one would.
I don't think so. It's 26, it's totally in Spain.
Yeah, 26.
27.
Ah, this is the southern hemisphere one.
I thought this one was the one that you needed to put to Shetland.
Yeah, this one's north. This one's north of us.
It's mid-Atlantic.
I think it's
isn't it?
the top
I
end
don't-
of Shetland.
I don't think it goes over to loads of land. This one. I think it's mostly you're gonna have to be on a boat for this one.
I think very top end of Shetland might be tall.
Might be, yeah. So this is the this is the next eclipse. Yeah.
What time does it start, Chris? What time does it start?
First contact for us is it's actually first. I think first contact for London is about 37, and for us it's a little bit later. It's just before 10 o'clock, I think.
Have you got the elevation? Local elevation.
Yeah, I put the oh,
Being a Saturday, I wonder whether we could do a public event.
we could possibly run PVE for it. I probably, well, sorry, outreach event. Just put the horizon back on. So elevation will be that points. $34 above horizon. So it's dead easy. Let me just put the horizon back on actually. Where's the horizon look? I'll run it backwards with that. Well, that's actually not an eclipse at the moment. So yeah, I mean it's going to be a nice easy object. So as long as it's clear, it's going to be decent for us. As long as it's clear, it will be clear. Because if it's not going to be clear, I'll cry. So yeah, that is our next eclipse. Would be a good one. It's also a good one for public education from the point of view of if you're viewing an eclipse, viewing an eclipse safely. Never look at the sun directly with unaided eyes. Never look at the sun through binoculars. Never look at the sun with a telescope or any other equipment unless you have the correct filtering. And by the correct filtering, I don't mean the little filter that says sun that you used to get in some telescopes back in the 70s and 80s. That used to essentially be black smoked glass, or perhaps even a mild welding screen. Because the first thing that happens is, when you're viewing through a telescope, if you are putting your filtering at the eyepiece end rather than at the objective end, you are allowing all that heat from the sun to build up in your tube, which number one is risking cracking the glasses and the optics in your tube. It's risking your tube stretching and warping, but it also risks, because that glass is getting magnified sun onto it. So if it's at the back of the eyepiece, there's a risk it will crack. And if it cracks, the crack will let a chink of sun through, you will get damaged, you'll get damaged eyes. So that is an important factor when you're observing the sun. Correct versions, ways to observe the sun. Using the Society's equipment with the Society's filters, used correctly and trained correctly. So these filters are always mounted up at the objective. They're always mounted at the big end of the telescope. So if you put a Barber filter or some form of solar filter, make sure it's not out of date, because this stuff does not last forever. It generates little pinholes after a few years. So just make sure your solar filter is up to scratch and in decent condition. You guys with a C star, you'll get one. You get one free in the box. I will recommend, if you do decide to view it with the C star though, I do recommend that you try and shade the actual C star itself, because if the body of the C star gets too warm, they can overheat. They've got thermal sensor in them. So if you leave them out in bright sunlight for too long, they can actually overheat, because they're not meant for imaging the sun for hours on end. They're only meant for doing, like quick imaging. So shade it, keep the body shaded as well as you can. The C star would be quite good for this actually, because you can capture video as well, so you could video it and time lapse it. Same if you time lapsing, just remember your cameras can get hot in the sunlight. It's March, the sun's going to be getting a bit of intensity behind it. Other ways you can observe the sun, there's the projection method, where you basically use a lens and project it, or a pinhole and project it, and project using a pinhole. Or you can also use the, if you're just wanting to see some of the effects of an eclipse, just holding a colander up. If you hold the colander up and look at the projected dots on the ground, you'll notice that there's actually the shape of the sun itself, because they are essentially pinhole cameras. But again, lots of pinhole cameras. On an eclipse like this, of this sort of magnitude, you should start to see that effect. When you get up into the 90%, you can really see that, and you'll start to see that dappled shade under leaves and that. So if you are going further north to see this one, don't just look at the eclipse, look at the effects on the ground, look at the effects around you. And if you're going up to totality and looking up to go to somewhere where it really is totality, listen for the animals as it gets to totality, because it is absolutely creepy. It is really eerie how animals suddenly shut up and everything goes very weird and quiet. So if you are going up to totality, yeah, we've checked, it's Shetland anyway. It looks like in north of Shetland, you'll sort of get very close. So if you are thinking of going there, go there. So is it crossing Faroe then? What's that bit? Faroe Islands. This is the one. So that's the partial solar eclipse. Now the other thing we've got in April is we've got another meteor shower. This one, it's the Lyrids. I'll show you the Lyrids. So it's a very wide meteor shower, is the Lyrids. So So the Lyrids pretty much runs all the way through the middle of April. And the constellation of Lyra, so the constellation of Lyra is, well, for a start, I think it's circumpolar for us, Lyra. Looking for it now, it's I've dazzled myself with me, we're looking at screen. There we go. So there's Vega. So that's the constellation of Lyra. So, as seems to be the case with so many of our meteor showers, we go to the back of the orb, and we look north. And it does seem to be the case with so many meteor showers. There is a bit of a reason for this, why so many of our meteor showers are, well, they're always in the sunset sky, the best meteor showers. They're always in the evening. You don't get the best meteor showers in the morning. And it's just because it's how the Earth is moving through space. So as the Earth's moving through space, if you've got a dust cloud here and the Earth's moving that way, it's more likely to hit the dust cloud. You're more likely to get some more meteors going into the dust cloud than going out of it, because you're travelling into them rather than travelling out of the cloud. When you think about it, if you're in the morning, you're travelling out of the dust cloud, so the meteors are moving away from you, and the ones coming in are blocked by the Earth's shadow. But the radiant does track a little bit. If I remember rightly, the radiant actually tracks during the meteor shower, and it starts pretty much just to the north of Vega, and then it tracks over towards Hercules. It tracks in that sort of direction, the radiant. And the Lyrids can be a decent meteor shower. ZHR, usually tissue allies, I think, because I've seen ZHRs anything, yeah. I've got 40 on my notes. I've always known it to be 25. So ZHR is anything. ZHR is zenithal hourly rate. So that's the maximum peak you can expect on the meteor shower with the meteor shower at zenith. So we would expect to see probably about a fifth of that number. So you might see one every 10 minutes. Mostly quite iron-rich meteorites. So you get a lot of orangey reds. Lots of warm colours. Think warm white light bulbs, and that's the sort of colours you're looking at with these. Parent comets. I think it's Thatcher, isn't it? I don't know if I wrote it down that one. It says it's Thatcher. So Comet Thatcher is the parent comet to that one, and still getting refreshed. It should be an acceptable meteor shower. Another one, that one could be a good one to go up and view. It's a very broad peak, so it may be a case of while you're viewing, keep an eye to the north. If you're up at the orb, keep an eye to the north, because you could catch some. And then, as we move into May, the other meteor shower we've got, which is a nice one, Eta Aquarius. Again, that's in region of about 40 an hour. And again, oh, that's just frozen. Oh, that's just frozen. We're back. Yeah, the sky suppose just crashed. Right. So your other meteor shower, as we're heading into May, which is sort of towards the end of our period, is the Eta Aquarius. Now, when we get into May, Aquarius, it's a bit of a weird place constellation for us in May, so I'm going to move on to the Eta Aquarius. So Eta Aquarius is starts around about my birthday, so we're talking sort of 11, 12 of May. I think I've got this. Yeah, it's about 19th of April it starts, 20th of May it finishes. So it's one that's around about my birthday. No hints, don't talk about any presents. And Just at the sun. And the thing you will notice is, well, if we look at the zodiac, first of all, you'll see the over towards the side here, we've got so recognizable constellations. You see there. You may well see a constellation that never really comes up very far for us. It's the lowest constellation on the zodiac, constellation of Scorpius, and it is there, just under the moon there. So that's Scorpius. And there you can see the claws up at the top. The constellation of Libra, which is just above it, used to be the claws of Scorpius. It's the only inanimate object on the zodiac. It's Libra the scales, and it used to be the claws of Scorpius. And the stars in Libra are named Zubinal Ganube and Zubinal Shemale, which mean northern claw and southern claw and bright. Above that is Ophiuchus, the unofficial constellation on the zodiac, because the zodiac does go through Ophiuchus. And then we have serpents at either side, and then as we get over here, we start to get Aquarius, which is, well, there's Capricorn, there's Aquarius. So you can see Capricorn there, with Pluto in it. So there's Capricorn, and there's Aquarius with Saturn in it there. And that's the problem with the Eta Aquarids. So if you go to watch the Eta Aquarids, you can only see Aquarius in the early hours of the morning. And what did I just say about meteor showers in the morning? It's not to be as powerful. So that is the only thing with the Eta Aquarids, but it's, if you do get an Eta Aquariid, they are quite fizzy ones. They're quite fizzy meteors. You get a lot of noisy ones that just you don't see many. As I said, the ZHR on it is quite a good ZHR. It's quite a high ZHR. You'd think, you know, it'd be a good shower. It's unfortunately not great. So, and that sort of takes us toward the end of the observing season, really. I think the two eclipses are the big things we need to take home from this one, because I think we can certainly, as a society, we can certainly work with the solar eclipse. And then also, I think the Mercury observation could be a good one we need to look at. But other than that, I mean, for you galaxy guys, you know, it's deep sky heaven. That's a brief look over the spring sky. If anybody has any questions they would like to ask me.
Thank you very much, Chris. As usual,
I've got to leave my screen on.
yeah, I'm going to, as we say, leave the screen on, please. As usual, no, sorry.
Balance.
There we go. As usual, if you've got a question online, raise your hand, please. Otherwise, if you're in the room, throw a fiver at me or something like that, and I will soon.
No, throw them at me.
And find a speed. And starting off with John Lynch. Online.
Good evening, Chris. Another excellent talk. I always look forward to these, as you know. You're the one person who fills in my calendar for the year. Yeah, always impressed by this. What software are you using? Is this a Solarium?
It's Sky Safari.
Is what?
Sky Safari.
Sky Safari. Okay,
Yeah,
right.
It's available on iOS and Android, I believe. I've never seen it on Windows, but it's available on iPhone, iPad, Android. This is running it on a on a Google Pixel Fold.
Right.
That's why you get the odd aspect ratio. It's like a sort of 5:4 aspect ratio, but it's running on the big screen on the Pixel Fold.
Right, I shall order that
Very
tonight.
well. Runs very well. The biggest package of it is usually about £45, and that includes deep sky objects down to ridiculous magnitudes. That's the one I've actually got. It's
Right.
the one where it is ridiculous, the number of deep sky objects it's very. The deep sky database is huge.
Right. It certainly looks very useful. Yep. It'll be on order within minutes. Thanks again, Chris.
Okay, anybody in the room? No, for us comet hunters, it's pickings.
I've not really seen much in the way of pickings. I was looking through my logs earlier today just to see, because I've not seen anything about any comments that were coming. They're for us anyway. There's been one in the southern hemisphere, but there's nothing really for us up in the northern hemisphere that I've noticed.
From what I can see on Astro Van Booten, the brightest ones around about magnitude 10.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't think there's anything predicted at the moment until about 26.
Yes.
Spring of 26.
Sky Safari is really good at notifying you when there's things like bright comets coming. It's got a very good notification system, and there's just when I do my search to prepare my talk, and I'll do a few notes and I'll do a few bits and bobs. But when I'm looking through, and I always go through what the planets are doing, have we got any eclipses, any transits that are of interest? And yeah, and unfortunately on comets, it just came up. This page is empty. It's just like there's nothing there of note. Comet Encke's sort of making an appearance, but that's Comet Encke.
It's always making an appearance.
Yeah, Comet Encke is always there. It's the perpetual comet. It's perpetually dim and perpetually boring, but it's always there. I think that's one of the brightest, and that's about magnitude 10. But other than that, yeah, we're not really getting anything. We have a bit of sensationalist news that we've got an asteroid that could hit the Earth, but they're not going to tell you when the asteroid's going to hit the Earth. They're just going to get you. This asteroid could hit the Earth, could hit the Earth more.
It's only 1% probability.
But it's like a 1% probability that it might possibly come near between the Earth and the Moon. But it's a very tiny possibility. And I'm sure.
400 meters for it.
Something like that, yeah. I mean,
No,
if it
small-
hits us, smaller.
Yeah.
About 40 meters.
No, they say between 50 and 90.
Yeah, about 300 foot.
If it does hit us,
in old money.
if it does hit us, it is going to be quite bad.
It's city devastation, so.
Yeah,
Well, chances are it's made up of little bits, so
But-
it will scatter.
It's a little larger than the objects that supposedly created the Barringer crater. So if you look at the size of the Barringer crater, I think we're going to get a crater bigger than that. So Tesla factory.
That was an iron meteorite, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that was an iron meteorite that created Barringer.
Yeah.
The Barringer crater, by the way, is the one. It's the one in Arizona. It's real. I'm really glad it landed where it did, because it landed near a visitor centre. It was really good at landing that.
Or maybe this one can hit a golf course in Florida.
Oh, I think it's
A particular golf course.
I think it's Tesla or Starlink factory. Because to be perfectly frank, I'm fed up with Sky Area going across my fields.
I'm looking around for any other questions.
Just a bit of feedback on Sky Safari. It's often on sale.
I know it's very often on sale. Muggins here paid full price, but I've had it a few years now. But it often goes on sale. The one that doesn't go on sale usually is the top one. Is the top. I don't often see that one on sale, but I see that it's like a bronze, silver, and gold tier, and the bronze and silver often go on sale. I don't know whether it's the databases they have to pay a license for or what. I don't often see the top one go on sale very much, or if it does, it's not much.
Where do you see when it's on sale?
If you are you on Android?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go into the Google Play Store
Right.
You can actually, on apps, you can actually put a watch on the app and it will watch for price changes on the app. You can, it's the three dots and you can basically, it's like follow this app or track this app. And it will, you'll get pings of when an app was on sale. Or if you just look at it and look at it for long enough, Google will sort of go, oh, you might want this app. So Google will like put a notification into your system that, yeah, this app might go on sale, we'll notify you about it.
And when you say it's on sale, how much of a sale is it?
I think I paid 17 quid for mine.
Yeah.
And you have got the top one.
Yeah,
The top
I've
tier,
just
yeah.
got notification that it wants to download another 500 meg.
I did that earlier, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge download, one earlier, it's the new ephemeris.
Right.
So yeah, it's like half a gig a day to when it does a big download.
Yeah.
It's the huge. Don't do it, if you're on a limited data plan, don't download Sky Safari data on it, because you will eat your data plan.
So you can control your scope from it as well.
Yes, you can.
So I can do my
There.
scope from it.
Apparently there is now a hack to the sea star. There is apparently one of the sections of the sea star, one of the things about the sea star is the video feed is what's called an RSTP feed, which is a readily openable feed. It's the same feed you use if you stream on Twitch. That's an RSTP feed. So you send that to the Twitch server. So theoretically, you can send the sea star feed straight to your Twitch server, and you can view it on Twitch. You can view a live feed. How usable it is, I don't know. What the day-to-day output is, but it's a fairly open protocol for controlling the sea star. It's just that none of the current software controls sea star because they've put some form of hacking to there to stop you controlling it. But apparently it's been cracked. So there is a way of controlling sea star, but you have to download third-party plugins.
What could possibly go wrong? Okay, I don't see anybody with a question or a comment.
No, they're all they're all asleep.
So, ladies and gents, can you join me in giving Kris Hudson-Lee a big Experience for International Society? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Stop sharing my screen.
Thank you. And we will stop that.
Thank you.
Stop sharing. For some reason that is not. It's up for me. That was not put up for me.
There we go.